Hey there YouTube, it's Nick with Feeding Fitness. Today's video is going to be on the topic of body fat percentage. What it means, how we track it, and really how important is it. So let's jump right in. What is body fat percentage? What do we mean by that when we say someone's 15% body fat? Well, essentially your body fat percentage is just what it says. It's the percentage of your body that is fat. So for example, if you weigh 200 pounds and you have 15% body fat, that means you have 30 pounds of fat on your body and 170 pounds of lean body mass. And lean body mass is essentially anything in your body that isn't fat. Your organs, your tissue, your muscles, fluid, blood and water, all of those things make up your lean body mass. So that's strictly what body fat percentage is. So now, how important is body fat percentage and how do we track it? How do we figure out what our body fat percentage is? This is where it gets pretty sticky, and this is why I don't really care much to use body fat percentage for really anything. You don't have an accurate way to track it at home. You just don't. There are methods, and they range from completely and totally inaccurate to pretty much inaccurate. I'll start at some of the worst. There are charts on the internet where you give your waist and your height and your weight and a few other measurements, and it'll spit out a body fat percentage. This is pretty bad because different people are proportioned differently. Some people have a bigger waist even though they're pretty lean. They carry their weight in different ways. This is just awful. I don't put any accuracy into measuring your body fat this way. Next up, just as bad, if you've ever used any of those devices, lots of gyms have them, where you grab two pieces of metal and you hold on to it and it spits out a number. I think they're like bioelectrical impedance or something like that. Those are worthless. Disregard those. You can use it 2 times in a row and get a number that's 3 or 4% different. It has a lot to do with your fluid balance. If your gym has one, here's a perfect example of how you can see how inaccurate it is. Walking into the gym fresh, go ahead and test yourself. Do your workout, test yourself afterwards. It's going to be different because you're going to sweat, you're going to lose some fluid during your workout, and it's going to throw off that machine. That machine has a lot to do with your fluid balance, so again, it is not extremely accurate. I would not put any faith into the number that machine gives you. Going to slightly more accurate, we have skin fold calipers. These have been around for a while. They're the little devices that pinch the skin and you test on various spots throughout your body. Now there are different methods to do that, and I'll tell you this, the more spots on your body you test, the more accurate it's going to be. There are like 3-point tests, 4-point tests, I think there's 11-point tests. Obviously the more samples you do, the more accurate you're going to be. But the person doing the testing, first of all, if you're testing on yourself, you're going to be completely inaccurate, don't bother. If someone testing you doesn't do it that often, they're not trained to do it, again, they could test you 2 times in a row and get wildly different results. Even if you go to a personal trainer or have somebody at a gym and that's what they do and they are trained on it, I still question the results of calipers just because I've seen people get some results that I know are not true. It's either wildly over or underestimating their body fat. So I don't like that method. Continuing on, now we're getting into the couple of methods that have some degree of accuracy. There's bod pod testing. Now, many places don't have bod pods. I actually live very close to the University of Akron, and they have a bod pod. And while I've never used it, I've heard decent reviews on that it's somewhat accurate, but that again can be fooled with water balances, and they have a very strict list of things you need to do before you get tested, like when you last ate, the clothes that you wear when you're in the machine, etc. And the closer you follow those guidelines, the more accurate your number will be. But even the bod pod is not going to be your best showing of accuracy. The only two methods that I would use personally that I would consider accurate are the DEXA scan and a hydrostatic test. And the DEXA scan involves x-rays. Unless you live in a country that has some kind of universal health care where that's provided, it's hard to get that here in America. A doctor is usually not going to prescribe it for you, and you're going to pay out the ass for it if you want it done. Same with the hydrostatic test, where they dip you in the pool attached to a machine. You know, some universities may provide that for you, but you're going to have a hard time getting that done. But those two methods are going to prove to be pretty accurate as far as body fat, as accurate as you're going to get. So with all that being said, how important is body fat percentage? Well, to me, it's kind of worthless. I think body fat percentage is used more of a bragging number in bodybuilding and in fitness circles. People want to get to that all-important 10% because for some reason at the magic round number of 10, you have the most beautiful looking six-pack and you start to have muscle striations and so on and so forth. But the problem with that is that's not always the case. 10% is kind of used as the marker of when you'll get your abs. But largely when you'll get your abs is genetic. I know guys who will have a full six-pack before they have any muscle striations anywhere on their body. I know other guys that can be completely shredded. They have three-dimensional delts. They've got, you know, total shredding of their legs, and the six-pack just isn't there yet. So why are you worried about when I hit 10%? You're going to have a six-pack when you look in the mirror and there's a six-pack there. If you don't have one, you need to lose more fat, plain and simple. Guys in the bodybuilding forums are always asking for a body fat percentage guess, all the time. Estimate my body fat. What do you think I am? What does it matter? If you look in the mirror and you think you're too fat, then you need to continue cutting. If you look in the mirror and you think you're too small, then it's time to bulk up. This artificial estimated number of a body fat percentage makes no difference. If I tell you you're 12% versus 15%, that will not change the way that you look in the mirror. So why do you care about the number? The number, for all intents and purposes, isn't very useful. It's good to have an idea of the range of your body fat simply to determine how much protein you need on a diet. But that's it. And that, if you can guesstimate within 5%, you're going to get close enough that you can set up your dietary macros. So honestly, I've posted this chart before. I'll post it again. It's got pictures of men and women at varying degrees of body fat. And looking at that picture versus looking at yourself in the mirror, you should be able to get an idea of within 5% of where your body fat lies. And I think that's as accurate as you need to be. Outside from that, that number is really no good. You know when you're fat and you know when you're not. When you look comfortable in the mirror and you're thinking, okay, my body fat is at a low enough percentage that I feel good about it, I can switch to a mass gaining diet and try and put some muscle on. Versus, I'm not as lean as I want to be, I need to continue cutting. The point I'm trying to make is you are just caught up in this number and think that magic things happen at 15% and 10% and you know that these nice round numbers seem to be where people like to hit. Like if you're under 20, then you're not necessarily fat anymore. If you're under 15, you look athletic. And then at 10%, you look ripped, and at 8%, you look shredded. Well, no, that might be true for some of you. It's not true for all of you. Most of you are guessing your body fat anyways, and again, the number is just worthless. So please, guys, pay less attention to body fat percentage. Don't even worry about body fat percentage because honestly, you don't have a good way to track it anyways. So with that being said, just watch the mirror. You know, that's all you need to do. So that's all I have to say about body fat today. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them here or over at the Facebook page, and I'll see you guys next time.